October 16th, 1939. Scotland wakes to a rare, cloudless morning. Sunlight reflects off the calm waters of the Firth of Forth as a passenger train rumbles across the great bridge above. Travelers lean toward the windows, quietly watching British warships resting at anchor below. For a moment, the war feels far away. That calm shatters without warning. Dark shapes streak across the sky, faster and larger than anything the passengers have ever seen. The aircraft plunge downward, bomb bay doors tearing open mid-dive. Seconds later, a towering column of water erupts beside the bridge. The shockwave ripples across the estuary, rocking ships at anchor and throwing passengers into panic. The train keeps moving. The conductor presses forward, knowing that stopping now could mean death. Another explosion rips through the air. The Luftwaffe has arrived, aiming to strike Britain before the battle even begins. This was not Germany's first experiment with terror from the sky. 2 years earlier, in April 1937, the Spanish town of Guernica looked upward as the sound of engines grew louder and louder. Dozens of aircraft appeared, descending without hesitation. Bombs and machine gun fire tore through streets and homes. Entire neighborhoods collapsed under the assault. By the time the attackers withdrew, more than 1,000 civilians were dead. The Spanish nationalists blamed their enemies, but the truth lay scattered in the rubble. Bomb fragments bearing the German Imperial Eagle told the real story. Hitler's Condor Legion had used Spain as a proving ground, refining dive-bombing tactics and testing aircraft modifications. Guernica was not support for an ally. It was rehearsal. That rehearsal became reality on September 1st, 1939. German forces surged into Poland, led by waves of Luftwaffe aircraft. Cities, railways, and communication centers were bombed relentlessly. Polish pilots fought back, but they were outmatched. Juncker's Ju-87 Stukas screamed out of the sky, their sirens designed to paralyze those below with fear. Some could even recover automatically if pilots blacked out under extreme G-forces. Within 2 weeks, Poland's air force was shattered. By October 6th, the country had fallen. Across the Channel, Britain listened as Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain addressed the nation. He made it clear that Hitler could only be stopped by force. The Royal Navy was ordered to blockade Germany, but British planners still believed bombers could cripple the enemy before the war fully expanded. Political caution, however, limited early strikes. German cities were avoided to prevent civilian casualties, and early RAF missions focused on naval targets instead. In those early days, RAF flying officer Andrew McPherson climbed into his Bristol Blenheim bomber. The aircraft was not cutting edge, but it could still carry a deadly payload. On patrol over the North Sea, McPherson spotted German warships below, undefended and unaware. Protocol demanded authorization before attacking. He radioed base. Nothing but static answered. He tried again. Silence. Forced to turn back, he watched the opportunity disappear. The following day, the same thing happened again. This time, British bombers were scrambled, but they arrived too late. When contact was finally made on a later mission, chaos followed. Some crews nearly flew without bombs. Others discovered their guns didn't work mid-flight. Bombs struck German ships but failed to detonate. One Blenheim even crashed into a cruiser by accident. German flak tore into the formation. One lost Wellington mistakenly bombed a Danish town, killing civilians. It was a disastrous beginning. Britain gained nothing, and worse, retaliation was inevitable. Still, British leaders trusted their defenses. Radar stations lined the coast. RAF airfields stood ready. Battleships patrolled offshore. The chain-home radar network could detect enemy formations long before they arrived, giving fighter squadrons time to intercept. One of the most important radar stations stood at Drone Hill in Scotland, guarding the vital naval base along the Firth of Forth. For weeks, the skies remained quiet. Then, on October 16th, radar operators saw what they feared most: unknown aircraft heading straight toward them. Observers soon confirmed visual contact. Flight Lieutenant George Pinkerton was ordered into the air with 2 other pilots, flying the new Supermarine Spitfire. As they climbed, reports came in from HMS Edinburgh. The intruders were Heinkel He 111-1 bombers, workhorses of the Luftwaffe. Pinkerton attacked head-on. Tracer fire filled the sky, but the bombers turned sharply and vanished into the clouds. For hours, Spitfires searched in vain. The Germans were gone. For now. At midday, radar lit up again. Another formation inbound. This time, the truth became clear. The earlier He-11s had been scouts, mapping defenses with cameras. The real strike force was coming. Juncker's Ju-80s, fast bombers designed to hit hard and escape before defenses could respond. Their target was believed to be HMS Hood, Britain's naval pride. But Hood was not there. Instead, the Germans found HMS Repulse and later shifted their aim to HMS Southampton. Diving steeply, bombs were released. One punched through Southampton's deck, but failed to explode. Wave after wave attacked, but luck and poor timing saved the fleet. As the bombers turned south, Spitfires finally caught them. A brutal chase followed. One Ju-88 was crippled, its crew forced to ditch the aircraft to prevent sensitive technology from being captured. They survived, only to be taken prisoner. The battle was not over. More Ju-88s slipped through and attacked again. Near-miss explosions devastated HMS Mohawk. Water and shrapnel killed sailors instantly. Captain Richard F. Jolly, badly wounded, refused to abandon his post. He continued directing his crew until he collapsed and died. By evening, the skies fell silent. The first air battle between Britain and Germany had ended. Losses were heavy, but Britain still stood. The Luftwaffe had struck British soil and failed to break it. They would return. And by the summer of 1940, the skies over Britain would burn in the full fury of the Battle of Britain, where survival would depend on seconds, skill, and the will to fight back.